The final don't that we're going to talk about is something I was briefly mentioning in the previous video, which is that you want to be specific and focused. You want to avoid broad generalizations. And this is coming directly from the College Board. It's generally better to focus your essay on a few points that are well made than attempt to check off a long list of rhetorical elements. So you do not have to cover every technique, every claim, every idea, try to capture the essay as a whole in this broad sense. Instead, we want to pick, as we'll talk about, 3 specific, significant techniques and elements and really dig into them and get into the specifics. And the ironic thing is when you focus only on a few techniques, it actually helps you write more. A lot of students who are trying to fill up 3 pages or write a lot, they think, oh, if I go broad, I'll have more to say because I'm talking about more things and I'm more general, so I'll be able to write more. But it's actually the opposite. When you get into the specifics, the details, that's what helps you write more. And I got this lesson from a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And the basic context of this little mini story I want to tell you is the main character of the book is a teacher, is a college professor, actually in rhetoric, interestingly enough. A college professor in rhetoric, and he's trying to help his students to write. And this is what happened. So I'll read this. So he'd been having trouble with students who had nothing to say. At first he thought it was laziness, but later it became apparent that it wasn't. They just couldn't think of anything to say. He was furious. "You're not looking," he said. A memory came back of his own dismissal from the university for having too much to say. For every fact, there is an infinity of hypotheses. The more you look, the more you see. She really wasn't looking and yet somehow didn't understand this. He's talking to a student right now. He told her angrily, "Narrow it down to the front of one building on the main street of Bozeman, the Opera House. Start with the upper left-hand brick." Her eyes behind the thick lensed glasses opened wide. She came in the next class with a puzzled look and handed him a 5,000-word essay on the front of the Opera House on the main street of Bozeman, Montana. "I sat in the hamburger stand across the street," she said, "and started writing about the first brick and the second brick, and then by the third brick, it all started to come and I couldn't stop. They thought I was crazy and they kept kidding me, but here it all is. I don't understand it." So what's the lesson from this story? The student couldn't write anything. She didn't know what to write about. And instead of saying, oh, write about something really broad, the teacher said, focus on the brick. Write about one brick in a building. And you would think, what would you have to say about one brick? But that's the key. There is quite a lot to say once you look. And that's what we're going to be doing when we're writing our essays. We're going to be picking 3 rhetorical strategies. We'll talk about this later. 3 rhetorical strategies the author uses and really go into detail on them. And that's what's going to get you a 4, right? Think about writing about the brick rather than a country, right? You want to focus, get down to the details, and that's what's going to maximize your score.